you have like a warp sound?
I need to put a warp sound at the end.
I was gonna say, like, do you have like a go to warp sound? And somebody
you know what?
mentioned
At the end, I'm gonna go.
okay, good. Yeah, that'd be great. So somebody mentioned Terry Trek. And here's the reason why we don't have Terry Trek, because he's basically sitting around in his underwear drinking tequila. So there's really nothing to talk about with Terry Trek.
Yeah, Terry's like, there's a writer's strike. Awesome. I'm just gonna sit back and take a vacation while you guys figure out how to get me more money in that writer's room.
And listen, if they're stupid, which they are, then they won't bring him back. But maybe they will, and we'll get Star Trek Legacy, and of course we'll have Terry Trek back again.
Maybe they will.
I mean, maybe. Someone did ask us in Discord what we thought were the chances, since we are talking about Star Trek now. What are the chances that Star Trek Legacy, are we still as hopeful as we were before the strike? Now that the strike is ending, where are we sitting at with it? And what I said in Discord was that I'm a little bit less optimistic about Star Trek Legacy, but not because of the strike, but because of the success of Strange New Worlds.
Right.
The success of Strange New Worlds, I believe, is going to give the studio a sense of confidence in this new Trek. Now, even though the studio did tell Alex Kurtzman, and I love this, told Alex, listen, knock that shit off with Discovery. Okay. Enough of the mental, emotional distress. And let's get back to some action, bud.
Make it more like Indiana Jones.
Make it more like Indiana Jones, but like Indiana Jones 3, not Indiana Jones 5.
When he said it was like Indiana Jones, I was like, why can't it just be like Star Trek?
Be
like Star Trek is
because they didn't watch Star Trek.
It's a storied franchise that has gone on way longer than Indiana Jones. That's like a new episode of Stargate, and you're like, it's just like Stranger Things. You're like, why? Why is it? I'm not saying Stranger Things is bad, but like, why is it like that when it's a way more respected franchise? By the way, we got a super chat from Drew D. He says, I guarantee you Twister's going to be about climate change.
Oh, shit. Drew. God, you're right, man. I don't want to see it now.
Yeah, you know what? I just realized you are so spot on. That's 100% going to be the case.
And we have Twisters because of climate change.
Right.
Okay.
Directed by Roland Emmerich. Twisters. And like there's giant twisters ripping the earth apart.
Can I be honest with you?
And the moon is like huge and like on the horizon. You're like, how do we survive this?
Well, what's sad is you'd have terrible actors in it, but the story might be pretty good.
Starring
wait,
Timothy Chalamet.
No, he's in everything. No, that would be considered a good casting.
Oh, it's got to be starring Will Sasso.
Yes, exactly. Or like Paul Dano, right?
Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore as a has-been scientist.
Will this weird scientist figure out a way to solve climate change and stop the Twisters?
Oh, God.
And like randomly there's going to be like some like older woman that everyone found ridiculously hot 20 years ago. She will always be in it at some point, and she has a kid. There's always a kid.
As a kid, right? Yeah.
It's like every one of Roland Emmerich's movies has like.
Oh, it's going to be Jennifer Aniston. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be Jennifer Aniston, and the kid will be like subtly, like you don't know exactly what the race of the father is. It'll be one of those things.
It'll be a black kid, 100%.
Oh, 100%. It'll be a black kid. Like she'll be like, this is my. We might not be related, but I'm still your mother. It'll be one of those things.
Okay, we got to stop going down this
All right, I can't. It's too
Where
much.
were we? What the heck are we talking about?
Warp Factor News. Drew, you really know how to derail.
Oh, that was great. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Okay, so
we were talking about Star Trek, but then super chat totally derailed the
Okay. All right. So what the first part of Warp Factor News was actually interesting surprise. I guess if you're going to have some Terry Trek, or the weekly Terry, I guess this actually might be it.
The Weekly Terry.
The Weekly Terry, because Patrick Stewart is in Time magazine.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I saw that because of his new book.
Because of his new book, and he listened. He wants to set the record straight. Okay, Picard season 3 was supposed to end differently than it did. Okay, and he actually outlines it very nicely here. He actually goes through in this Time article and he talks about the whole story about how he ended up doing the project. Never before did I know this, but as Michael Chabon, we have given him incredible trouble because his Star Trek is garbage. He's an award-winning writer, and he is the reason that we find out in this interview, in this article, we find out that Patrick Stewart actually, that was the thing that piqued his interest. He liked Michael Chabon's book, and so that piqued his interest. And so without Michael Chabon, we got no Picard season 3, essentially. But he does go on to talk about this interesting thing, and I kind of want to break it down a little bit. He says here, for season 3, our last, Terry Matalas, by then Picard's showrunner, told me that the studio wanted a full Next Generation reunion. Ugh, just what I had firmly said I didn't want. I love how he's friends with all these people, like close friends, like brothers and sisters friends with the TNG cast. And sometimes the shit I read that he says is like, if I was like,
he's so pretentious. Yeah,
he really is. He really is. I mean, he's earned some of it, but
no, that's why the lush Troy doesn't like him.
She does like him though. She does. They love each other, dude.
In a weird, maybe in like a weird, like, I don't know, shit. Like maybe
she's pissed at everybody, dude.
She really gave it to old Patrick Stewart, though.
Yeah, she did. Well, yeah. Well, she's keeping it real, and she is the other Brit in the crew.
I always forget she's British.
Anyway, yeah. So he didn't want that. So just what I had firmly said I didn't want, but that had been 3 years ago. Now I was less resistant. Having enjoyed working with Jonathan, Brett, Marina, John, and Whoopi, as an executive producer, I had a say in how we might go about achieving such a reunion. I told Terry, I like the idea, provided that we don't bring them all back at once. Let's trickle them back in. Now, that is something that Terry ended up using. And I don't know if it was really Patrick Stewart's idea or if he's just taking credit for it.
I think he's just taking credit for it. I think Terry went to Patrick Stewart's house with a bottle of wine, got him drunk, made him agree to it. And then when they showed up the next day in the writer's room, Patrick Stewart was like, "Oh, I said that. Okay, let's do it."
I will let you're probably right. I will let the cat out of the bag though. Whenever Terry says the studio wants something, that's Terry, using the studio as a cudgel, as a weapon. Yeah, he does. He's very effective at using the studio as a weapon. And kudos to him for getting what he wants. But it was Terry Matalas who wanted the reunion.
Right.
And as well as he actually talked with I just totally drew a blank.
Jonathan Frakes.
Name Jonathan Frakes. He actually talked with Jonathan Frakes about it first, and they both loved the idea. And of course, I'm sure he went to the studio before going to Patrick to make sure it was okay. And the studio always wanted a TNG reunion because the studio knows that's going to make more money.
That's what they wanted in the first season.
They did. He just didn't want to do it.
They're like, why couldn't we just do TNG part season 9, bro?
Yeah. It was essential to me that each TNG character came into the picture because he or she had a specific contribution to make, and it wasn't just sentimental window dressing. And it wasn't. The season absolutely wasn't. If Jean-Luc had changed so much over the years, so too surely had the other members of the Enterprise crew. The writers, bless them, took this to heart. The final season's premiere episode... that's interesting. The final season's premiere episode, written by Terry, Akiva, and Michael Chabon, I didn't know he wrote the first episode, found Picard in a relaxed state of post-Starfleet life, proclaiming to his Romulan minder, Laris, played by the fine Irish actress Orla Brady, which she is a good-looking lady. I'm going to sip
fine-looking woman.
I'm going to sip Saurian brandy and think about writing my memoir. And he said he could relate to that. The one thing we learned from this article that I thought was interesting is that Patrick Stewart did not, under any circumstance, want to get back in the uniform. If you recall, during TNG, he was always pulling the damn thing down. Do you remember that?
Right.
During the show? That's because it was fucking uncomfortable. He hated being in the Starfleet uniform. And one of his big things was he was not going to do it. And if you notice, during Picard season 3, he is wearing some sort of Starfleet uniform, but it's like civilian clothes, like in the same shades and colors as Starfleet.
Right.
But it's not an actual uniform.
Yeah, it's like a jacket with like the pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Frakes got away with not having to wear that crap either.
Yeah. Well, basically Terry's like, look, we need you back in uniform. And so this was the compromise that they came up with. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. So he talks about
a lot of people were mad that they didn't make it clear that he was back with Beverly. I remember some of like the really hardcore shippers out there that are also fans of ours were like, "Can you ask Terry if they got back together?" And we're like, "It's right. It's on screen. He's with her at the end." He goes, "Yeah, but are they married?" And like, I think that Terry wanted to leave that up to the audience.
Yes, he did, and it's smartly so, because there's books that are going to be written. There could be more Star Trek still to come. He didn't want to be the guy who decided where that was, because I think ultimately you're going to make half of the people unhappy anyways. Some people are like, okay, settle down with Beverly, maybe that's okay, and the other people are going to love it. So the third season, he said, comes off magnificently, but its final scene, in which the reunited crew is gathered around a table with drinks, sharing a toast, is not how it was originally supposed to end. I had a different idea, which I brought to the writers a few months before we wrapped the series. What I'd like to see at the end of the show, I told them, is a content Jean-Luc. I want to see Picard perfectly at ease with his situation, not anxious, not in a frenzy, not depressed. And I think this means that there is a wife in the picture. Okay. You see, the line between Jean-Luc and me has grown even more blurred. If I have found true love, shouldn't he? I guess Patrick Stewart's found true love. Very cool. The writers came up with a lovely scene. It is dusk at Jean-Luc's vineyard. He's back. His back is to us as he takes in the view, his dog at his side. Remember the dog from the first season?
He loves that dog.
Loves that dog. Then off screen, a woman's loving voice is heard. Jean-Luc, supper's ready. Is it Beverly Crusher's voice? Loris? Someone we don't know? It isn't made clear.
But she's obviously 50 years younger than me and wearing a bikini.
Right. Heeding his wife's call, Jean-Luc turns around, says to his dog, "Come on, boy," and heads inside. Dusk fades to night, and Picard fades into history. That's how he said it was supposed to end. Now here's why it didn't end that way. Here's the rest of his story. But this scene was never shot, and I'm sort of to blame. On our final day of shooting, season 3 was a bear with a very long to-do list. About 8 hours in, I realized we were in for a 14 or even 16-hour day. Brutal. And I was booked to fly to New York the first thing the following morning. So I made a suggestion to the production team. Look, I said, the scene with the dog will take no time to shoot, but it will take hours to set up the lighting and the green screen and all that. We don't have those hours, so let's not shoot that scene today. I can come back at any time you like and take care of it, just me and the dog. The production team was grateful and relieved, and I was assured that we would take care of the final scene upon my return from New York. But I never got a call.
Terry was like, sounds great. Don't call him.
Wait. When I made a few inquiries, okay, he didn't let it go. I kept getting put off. Finally, someone told me the studio doesn't want to do it. It's too expensive, and they think it's unnecessary. Unnecessary? I thought it was crucial to the completion of Picard's arc, but so be it.
The studio doesn't want to do it.
The TV series ended with a toast, which is a warm, emotional send-off to my favorite Starfleet crew either way. And you know how my original intent was. Yeah, so the way that story really goes down is...
The studio doesn't want to do it, man. I don't know. They said it's too expensive. So we're going to go with the other scene that I already...
I also heard it wasn't Patrick Stewart's idea necessarily not to shoot that scene that day. That it was kind of suggested or pushed that way. We can shoot it later. And he's like, okay, no problem. So it's interesting that he's telling it from the perspective that it was his idea, when the way I heard it, it wasn't exactly his idea.
I think that Terry's superpower is making people believe that his ideas are their ideas.
He has a superpower, my friends.
Because he is really good at that.
Do not underestimate the power of Terry Matalas's ability to just guide you in the direction you need to go. This is what makes him a great showrunner.
Hey man, listen. I love the ideas. I love the fact that you want like a younger woman in there. That's cool. I'm sure she's gonna be hot. It's gonna make. But how about this? We do it another time. Right? It's been a long day. No big deal. You gotta get on a plane. Let's just shoot the thing in a couple weeks. No big deal.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good trip. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Patrick. It was a great idea, man. Great idea to shoot another day.
So he walks away from it going, that was my idea, wasn't it? Yeah. Right. So, listen, there's nothing nefarious going on here.
Mr. Matalas, when are we going to shoot that scene? Oh, listen, the studio doesn't want to do it, man. It's just too expensive.
Listen, why not blame your parents, right? Like, seriously, like if your friend calls up and says, listen, man, let's go smoke weed and drink, a fifth of something. You'd be like, my parents.
Yeah, I don't know, man. My mom and dad said no.
They'll beat me with a stick. So
I think I think what's really funny about this is like Terry is so good at convincing people that it's their idea and sort of guiding them into the right place for a story. But he's also good at staying under the budget. And I bet you one way he does that is by cutting the fat and using the studio as the way to sort of like, not do the stuff that is not ever going to make it.
Brian, guess who's never going to call the studio and ask? Patrick Stewart.
Right, of course not.
So that's what I'm saying. It is a perfect excuse for anything. Studio. Now, to Terry's credit, I do know that he went back to the studio over and over and over again to try to get as much as he could for the show, and they did deny him on things. But he tried to get as much as he could. But I do think Terry wanted to end it as it should have been ended, not with Patrick Stewart, but with the way it was ended, which was what I would say perfect.
It's a perfect ending. You literally ended it around the poker table, the same as TNG. Like, that's perfect.
Perfect ending.
I'm sorry, it's perfect. There is no other ending than what we were given.
Not Patrick Stewart at home with his wife.
with his much younger wife. It's very ambiguous. We don't know who he's dating. It could be anyone as long as it's hot. And then he's with his dog at dusk. He's like, supper's ready, Picard. He's like, coming there. Come on, dog.
Mademoiselle. Yeah.
No.
So I thought you guys would enjoy that. Brian and I we want to make sure you guys get some good stuff. And listen, anytime stuff comes out where we kind of have a little bit of insight into the truth, we will do that. Bad. We do have a couple more things here.
Hold on, I need to fix this. There you go. Go ahead.
All right. Nice. So it came out now in this little article we talked about with Variety a minute ago, where it said like the Star Trek 4 movie reboot is what it said. And it's like, whoa, what?
Right.
Listen, there's been rumors of Star Trek 4. I mean, how many writers has it gone through? How many directors has it gone through? 4 now? Right. I mean,
no,
go back. We've done all the stories.
More than 4. Yeah, we've done entire videos about it.
We've done it all. And my first thought was when I saw this, I'm like, God dang it, are we going to have to do another video about this? Right? Luckily, no, because the information is just not good enough. Even though it came from Variety. Here's what it means. So Paramount is, supposedly prioritizing a Star Trek movie reboot following the end of the writer's strike.
Starring Jean-Luc Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard wants it. Oh, by the way, the end of that Jean-Luc story.
It's a romance about him on a vineyard with his much younger wife and dog.
You're going to laugh because at the end of this Time article, so he says, so is that it for Jean-Luc Picard? That's the question they asked him. He said, Most probably, but never say never. I am gently pushing Paramount to let us do one single Picard movie.
No.
Not a not a next generation movie, as we've already done 4 of those. This would be an expansion and deepening of the universe as we've seen it in Star Trek Picard.
Listen, Patrick Stewart, I was joking. Okay, don't take that serious.
He only wanted to do 3 seasons, but now he wants to do a movie. He says, I've discussed this with Jonathan, Brent, and LeVar, and they are all game. Jonathan is my first choice to direct it.
Yeah, well, of course, Jonathan is game to star and direct in a movie.
Right? Why not?
Listen, guys, no matter what you were planning on doing, if you asked me, hey, you want to come work? Okay, yeah.
You want to make some money? Yeah, I mean, especially since, like he said, nobody's knocking down his door.
Right.
Jonathan Frakes said, after that great Picard season 3, nobody's saying, hey, you want to do something else?
Right.
Okay, so...
All right, so back to this. Star Trek movie reboot.
Yes. It's reportedly a top priority for Paramount now that the WGA strike is over. According to a new report, Star Trek 4 is the 4th film produced by J.J. Abrams. You guys got to remember, it's been mired in development hell for years with several high-profile filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino, Noah Hawley, S.J. Clarkson, and of course Matt Shakeman. Most recently exited the project due to creative differences.
Didn't Matt Shakeman go to do Ghostbusters or something?
No. Fantastic Four.
That's right. Yeah.
But the creative differences are Paramount wants $1 billion movie, and everybody else is like, yeah, you can't be done. Not with Star Trek.
I mean, it could be done if you slow roll it. If you start slow and you build up the universe the way Marvel, look, Iron Man didn't make $1 billion. In fact, the first 5 Marvel movies didn't make $1 billion.
I don't think enough people like science fiction to make $1 billion.
But you see, in this day and age, I believe that superheroes and science fiction are sort of the same thing. Like you can write them the same way. You can though.
You can write them, but the interest of people to go to the movies and watch it is different. Like everybody loves a superhero. Every dude loves a superhero, right? Even jocks or people who don't like nerdy stuff love superheroes.
Jocks.
Right, jocks.
Jocks. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're very similar. In fact, if you look at Star Trek Beyond and like any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, they're like the same. It's like the same. It's like they're very similar in tone. You can make an entire franchise built around this alternate version of Star Trek or whatever, and you just got to slow roll it. You have to you have to start with a good movie, and then you have to consistently put out movies every couple years, 2 to 3 years.
Star Trek 2009, we could argue, had that tone. Started out as a good movie.
Yeah, no, Star Trek 2009. The normies loved it. The second movie went way too deep, though. Like they thought, they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. We're gonna make a movie that all the normies are gonna like, and it's gonna start, Cumberbatch. Everyone thinks this guy's the best, but they were also like mixing in all kinds of like lore that only Star Trek fans would understand, and we didn't like it.
I mean, they didn't get it right.
Because they didn't get it right.
It was lore that Star Trek fans would recognize, but you didn't have to be a Star Trek fan to get that movie.
No, you didn't.
At all.
I didn't, but Star Trek fans would uniquely dislike it because of how different it was.
Right. So they tried to cater to Star Trek fans and to regular audiences. That was the whole idea, because if you look at the Star Trek Into Darkness, it's a regurgitation of prior Star Trek franchises.
Right,
Wrath of Khan.
You could have done that without pissing off the Star Trek fans, because then we give it a bad rate. We give it a bad, check mark. And normies are like, this is sort of slow in comparison to 2009. So then they tried to course correct.
I don't think it was slow, but yeah.
I mean, it was slow in comparison. Like it had a longer build up.
It was a hugely action-packed movie.
No, I'm telling you, Into Darkness wasn't as fast-paced as 2009 or Beyond. Anyways, there was a slower build-up. It was a little darker of a film.
Slower build-up.
I feel like they course-corrected really hardcore with Beyond, by making it super colorful. They hired one of the Fast and Furious directors, and they went really far. To be fair, a lot of people like Beyond more than Into Darkness. So,
yeah, I mean, but the point is like, I think Star Trek would have to be like a groundbreaking type of movie. Like it would have to be like Avatar-esque, or there have to be some other a genre-raising element in order to be $1 billion movie. So I don't think that Star Trek alone could be $1 billion movie. I just don't think it's possible. So
I mean, dude, 2009 got close though, right?
No, I mean,
600 and something million.
That's not close. So like that's like the best it could do. Like that's the best it could do with an all-star cast.
That's true.
With a story that's looking back on not so great, but at the time seemed pretty good.
Yeah, and it had an all-star director too. It had like everything going for it, and all the marketing and everything.
Yeah, like that was like max potential, I think. Unless you were able to like have a groundbreaking element to the movie, like something never shot before, never done before, never explored before. It's changing the way cinemas make movies.
Oppenheimer.
Wait, I was gonna say
practical effects. Go watch this on an IMAX screen.
Nolan makes Star Trek, and it's like, oh my God, it's
Christopher Nolan's Star Trek would be pretty. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah,
yeah. I was about to say Christopher Nolan's Star Trek would be awesome, except for I didn't like Oppenheimer.
Okay,
I don't want to watch Oppenheimer meet Star Trek.
2.5 hours of like Vulcans just sitting around talking to Klingons.
Right, and then like there's one giant explosion. No, don't worry. Practical effects. We actually blew up a moon.
Yeah, we blew up the whole
Wait, Chris, was it our moon? Closest moon we could find. Oh,
closest moon we could find.
Wait, is that why there's tidal waves on?
That would actually be really funny. Like, what's that YouTube video or YouTube show, like Pitch Meeting or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Nolan Star Trek Pitch Meeting.
So you want to blow up a moon? Yes, I do.
Our moon. Okay.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea.
Wait, I like Archmage phrase comment here. Timothy Burton's Star Trek with Timothy Chalamet, Jenna Ortega, Johnny Depp.
Oh, no. Okay, that actually gives me a headache.
We're way off the rails here. Okay. Let's go back into Star Trek 4. Is it really going to happen, guys? Okay. So Paramount, you got to remember, Paramount yanked Star Trek 4 from its planned December 2023 release. We would be looking into the face of a Star Trek 4 film had Shackman not backed out and there were problems with the script.
You know what's wild too, bro? I'm sorry. The studio was sort of silly about this budget because every single one of these Star Trek movies made a good amount of money. Like a good amount of money. Like with budgets of like $150 million, they're making $385, $467, $600 million. Big money.
No, they didn't. No, you're right. They didn't lose money. I think Beyond maybe didn't do as well at the box
Beyond made $385 million.
What was its budget? Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, right here. $180 million.
Double it.
Yeah, so yeah, you double it. I guess it's not. Yeah, it's so it's probably breaking even. But like overall, the franchise is a total net positive. Even Into Darkness made almost $500 million.
But it's trending down, and so they didn't want to make a fourth movie right away and have him lose money because that was where the trend line was going.
That's true.
So what happened was they gave it some time to breathe, and then they started like polling people, and they're like, "Yeah, I would like to see a Chris Pine Star Trek movie again. Hello, let's bring this shit back."
And I like Chris Pine.
People are interested in a Star. Yeah. Let's do it. And so they started the whole process. But here's, as we know, the problem is that Starfleet Academy is the problem.
Starfleet Academy, the bane of our existence.
It's the problem because they wanted to do Starfleet Academy as a movie, but they also wanted it. Kurtzman wanted it as a TV series. Yeah, and there was some fighting over it, and so now we've got this thing. So the interesting part
Starfleet
of
Academy is so stupid. I'm sorry, I have to, Shane. I'm sorry, bro. I have to. Okay, first off, nobody is asking for a Starfleet Academy. I don't know a single person who has heard the idea of Starfleet Academy and goes, "Oh, I want to see that." No one gives a shit about watching cadets in Star Trek College. We don't want to see that. I don't know of a single Star Trek fan or even science fiction fan who thinks Starfleet Academy is a good idea. We have to let this horrible idea die. Please. It's plaguing everything. It plagues the movies. It plagues the series. It's plaguing Star Trek Legacy. It's constantly sitting there in this weird pseudo-announcement stage, just fucking everything else up. Stop with Starfleet Academy. No one wants it.
Well
Sorry.
said.
Go ahead.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, done the right way, sure, maybe it could be done well. And that's what the reason why they're doing it is because everybody's like, hey, okay, we've done all this Star Trek. What haven't we done yet? Starfleet Academy. Like, that's why it's being done, because it's like the thing that they haven't done. So anyways, where's this coming from? So in a recent Collider interview, Pet Sematary Bloodlines writer-director Lindsay Anderson Beer said that Star Trek IV is still on the tracks. Anderson Breer was a screenwriter working on Star Trek IV, although she left the project to make Pet Sematary. It's not clear which version of Star Trek IV Anderson Beer is referring to, or if Paramount is scrapping whatever has been developed thus far and will reboot the Star Trek movie franchise, as Variety reports. As to what a new Star Trek movie reboot could be, okay, first off, they're not going to reboot it because they did polling, so they made a mistake. Variety, and listen, this mistake happens all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know why people use the term reboot.
Stop.
Okay, reboot means starting over.
Well, obviously.
Okay?
Yes.
It means starting over. Now,
Yes.
all of you young people who are writing these fucking things, who didn't reboot a computer because you don't know what a fucking computer is,
Right.
Okay, because it's all on your phone.
Because you're writing this
restart
on a tablet or a Microsoft Surface. You have no idea where the power button is. Everything is on-screen touch.
The term reboot comes from restarting your computer, folks. Okay?
Yes, that's what it comes from. Rebooting a machine. You're rebooting it, starting over.
Right.
It's starting over.
Right.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Let's just look up the definition. Maybe
No.
maybe we're wrong, Shane.
No, we're not
No,
wrong.
because you got a good point, bro. You got a good point. You know what? And I want to make sure that your point is 100% correct and we're not fucking nuts. Here we go.
Watch it says it's a relaunch.
The verb is boot or be booted again. The new value will not be enforced until you reboot the system. Noun, an act or instance of booting a computer or system again. Be prepared for frequent reboots. Okay, the difference between reboot and revive, and here it is right here, right, is, and I love how they actually use Doctor Who.
Oh.
They actually use Doctor Who as a reference. When you're restarting something or rebooting something, you are starting over. When you are reviving something, what are you doing?
Re what?
When you are reviving something, what are you doing?
Reviving. Yes, you're bringing something back to life.
So if you're restarting or rebooting, you are starting over. If you are reviving, you are bringing it back to life from where it stopped.
And you know, the definition got the term reboot wrong.
What?
It says here, British television had a big hit with the reboot of Doctor Who. It wasn't a fucking reboot.
Jesus Christ.
Even the definition has reboot wrong.
Yeah.
It was what was the other word you used?
Revival.
Revival.
Yeah, Doctor Who, when Doctor Who came back, they didn't do away with the last 50 years. They continued the story with a new actor. It's obviously it's a revival. It's not a reboot.
We might be crazy.
Maybe we're crazy, but I'll tell you right now, definition-wise, these are not reboots. They're not. It's a revival.
Or just say continuation.
Or a continuation.
You don't have to say reboot. Continuation. Okay, there you
go. God, get off your tablet, dude. Find a computer.
And even that's restart. Okay, so
right.
Get it right. Anyways, so I think it's likely that Variety just used the wrong word because of millennials or whatever.
They constantly do. They constantly use the wrong word.
They do. Because they did polling. They know that fans want to see Chris Pine, and in order to reboot Star Trek again, you would have to have all new actors. So I think they're probably wrong. I do think that what Beer is saying here is interesting. Obviously, she would have some conversations Paramount obviously wouldn't just give up on Star Trek 4 completely, but I do think that it's not going to be announced anytime soon. I think we're going to have to wait until Paramount TV decides what it's going to do, and then they're going to need a new script. They're going to need a new script for Star Trek 4.
Yep. Heavily influenced by artificial intelligence.
What would you like Star Trek 4 to be about?
The continuing mission, our continuing 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds.
So get away from. Can we please get away from the Federation?
Yes, get away from the Federation.
Stay away from fucking Earth.
Yeah,
okay,
stop
right?
with like world-ending villains. Like we want to blow up Earth. We want to blow up the giant space station with millions of people. Let's stop. Let's go back to exploring. Can we just continue the 5-year mission? Okay, and this is not hard. You can literally make a movie every 2 years that will make millions and millions and millions of dollars by just copying the same format as Star Trek for the last 60 years and give us a story about some new planet they found with new whatever and some problem they have to solve and make it a full-length movie. You can do this for the next 15 years. These actors can die in this franchise and you will make billions of dollars.
This is true. And listen, when you do it, the next movie needs to be a ship-based movie. So Beyond took us off the ship.
Yes.
Right?
It destroyed the ship.
We need a ship-based movie.
It destroyed one of the main characters immediately. That told you that. I don't think the writers totally understood that Beyond literally killed like one of the main characters. I mean, the ship is a character.
Right. Well, they're just going to have the Enterprise A come out now.
Right.
And which is fine. They can do that. They got plenty of letters to go. So
that's true. They do. They have plenty of letters.
So that's pretty much it. Once we get more news on a Star Trek 4, of course, that'll be huge news. And we'll keep you guys posted.
Yes. And from Adam Leader, he did a tip. Thank you, Adam Leader. This is what Adam says. Let me put it in here real quick. Adam Leader for $10. Thank you, Adam. He says, so just to be clear, Brian, do you or do you not want to see Starfleet Academy? Seems to me you're still on the fence.
Yeah, you were a little unclear there, buddy.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay.
Wait. Also from Christopher Mays. Let me just put it in here real quick. I gotta find a better system than this, by the way. From Christopher Mays, $20. Thank you, Christopher Mays. He says, I think Picard is a good reboot. He's messing with us.
That's messed up. Come on, Chris.
So there's thank you, Chris. Also, Archmage Phrase said, good point was, where did he put it? Where is it? BSG is a reboot.
Yes. Thank you.
I forgot exactly what he said, but he said he had 2 examples, and that's a good point. Yeah, BSG was 100% a reboot. It started from scratch, replacing characters and completely changing like everything about them. And to be fair, BSG is a pretty good. It's a good reboot. It's good.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's at. But he had a good point.
Okay, excellent.
And Doctor Who is revival. That's what he said. BSG is a reboot. Doctor Who is revival. Yes, exactly.
Agreed. Okay, so let's talk. We have one more piece of Star Trek information because we have a very short trek that was actually pretty interesting. You know me, I'm not about humorous, and I don't necessarily think that that it was that humorous, honestly. But some people are saying it's hilarious. It's called Holograms All the Way Down. It's a very short trek. I doubt we can show it here, right? It's on StarTrek.com. I put the link in the.
Well,
news.
you know what? Let's try it, Shane.
All right.
Yeah,
you can at least freeze it every once in a while.
Yeah, let's try it. Star Trek.
And what's interesting is the animation style that they chose here. They chose to use the original Star Trek animation style for the characters, and they do explore a plethora of our favorite Star Trek characters. Now, for Lower Decks and Prodigy, they use the current style. It was also written. This very short trek was written by the Prodigy showrunner, which I thought was cool.
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube actually. It's funny. All right, let's do it. Did you know that the Star Trek channel has less subscribers than our main channel?
Really?
I did not realize that. That's pretty.
They must not put any content up.
They have just over 100K, but we're above them somehow. Okay, here we go. Funny is it? They did the new intro, but in the old animation style.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I love that.
I like that logo too. I don't know why.
That is the logo, brother.
Yeah. And it's like the audio is also garbage, like the original animated series was.
Totally perfect.
It's like mono, no stereo. It's
Yep.
like there's like 16 hertz easily. It's
great. So, I mean, I can appreciate little things like this, even though I'm not big on Star Trek humor. But
did we get kicked off stream? Are we still here, everyone? I wasn't even checking.
We're not even. I mean, they're not gonna give a shit.
I mean, they wouldn't even. Okay. They're still chatting. We're good. All right. So I guess none of that was copywritten. All right.
Well, it was. It was 2 minutes, so I guess you could have gotten it, but
yeah.
So the holograms all the way down. Of course, it opens with a play on the Enterprise series finale, an unconventional series ender that saw the Next Generation's Will Riker and Deanna Troi going through a holodeck simulation. Frakes once again reprises his role. So we got all the voices in here. You got Jonathan Frakes. You got Marina Sirtis. Armin Shimmerman plays Quark. Connor Trenier came back to do the voice, which I don't even remember him talking about doing this very short trek on. I might have missed it from his show. You got Noel Wells, of course, Tendi, Prodigy's Angus Emery, and George Takei playing Sulu. Looks like Doug Jones and Bruce Horak also gave their voices, and Ethan Phillips returns as Neelix.
It's cool.
Which was cool.
Yeah. I love me some Neelix. I know you don't like Neelix, but I like Neelix.
I like him better after Kess leaves.
Yeah, Kess. That whole idea was just bad idea. Like, hey, this species is only 10 years old.
Well, she's not even 10. She's 2.
She's
like
2,
1,
yeah.
2, and 3.
She's 2 years old.
Yeah.
They lived to 10 years old, and Neelix is weirdly possessive over this seemingly child.
Well,
and he's dating the child.
Here's what's really weird. She was supposed to be the hot one.
And she's supposed to be the hot one?
The idea was she was the sexual tension of the show. Like Jerry Ryan would eventually be like the sexual, like that's what Kess was supposed to be.
Yeah. Why didn't they put her in more tight-fitting outfits then? They didn't work that. They didn't think that through.
Cute sprite blondie, I think is what they were going for. But what's funny is like it was either her or Harry Kim.
Yeah, but they didn't make it work right. Like first off, like unless you're a total creepoid, don't tell me the character is like 4 years old. Like,
I'm not sure. I mean, I get they want like a different alien. Listen, I get it. Like it's science fiction. So, maybe it takes, their 1 year is like our 20 years, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
But no.
It's like reverse dog years.
But that's not actually the case. So, yeah, she literally got old. So within a year, she like grew into a full woman.
Right.
So, yeah, that is a little bit strange.
Right. Yeah, that was a bad character. I think you're right.
Well, what do you think of these very short treks as opposed to...
I do not like them. I think that the previous one was just gross and weird. I don't see a point. I don't really care. I feel like there's YouTubers that make better versions of this. And I don't care.
Yeah, what do you think they're accomplishing? Because it doesn't. I mean, they're kind of keeping content. I guess a little bit of new content here and there. It's supposed to be having a little fun, but it doesn't seem to be moving the peg really. I mean, what are people waiting for? They're waiting for Discovery next. If you are waiting for more Star Trek,
I don't know. Like It's not even on. It's not even on like the streaming service. Like you have to be like on YouTube and like looking.
It was
around
not
for
on
it.
Paramount Plus. I thought that was interesting. Like it was not on Paramount Plus. It was on StarTrek.com, and
Yeah.
so that's weird. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like you're just wasting money. Put some of that money. Put that money into something valuable. I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's like I don't know. I think YouTubers already know how to do that, and they do a better job. So
Well said. Well, that's it for Warp Factor
Warp
News.
Factor News.